Sorry, guys. Thank you so much. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Shiva Pullepu. I'm a VP, AI and Financial Services Solution Engineering at CrateDB. Before CrateDB, I worked at MongoDB for almost 3 years. I did pretty much a similar work there. So part of my job, what I do is help a financial services industry adopt to modern technology platforms, especially on the database side, such as MongoDB and CrateDB. And I find it very interesting because I have been in the industry, financial services, for almost 18 years. I have actually scar tissue to prove that the challenges that we typically see in the industry. Still, believe it or not, financial services, or for that matter, any industry, they still use a lot of legacy technologies. So it's a high time to actually migrate into more modern technology platforms to be able to leverage recent emerging trends such as AI, more importantly, Gen AI. So we're speaking about modern technology platforms. There are a number of those, MongoDB and CrateDB. I love them both. When I think about CrateDB, I wanted to introduce CrateDB in a way that I like to be introduced. When you think about relational database management systems, think about something like a SQL. I started my career with the SQL 97 back in 2000. SQL, Oracle, Sybase, all these relational platforms on one side, and one of that is a PostgreSQL, which is my favorite. And the other hand, you have a NoSQL, such as MongoDB, right? So for a second, if you combine those two, you see CrateDB. CrateDB is, to me, a distributed SQL platform that comes with the document flexibility, right? So which is really phenomenal. When you think about doing any agentic applications or Gen AI applications, it comes really handy because most of the industries, they still are SQL heavy, right? 80 to 90% of the data workloads are still sit on a SQL. So a platform that you have, like, although it is modern, it has to be SQL compatible. There are some shortcomings. I'm not actually calling out to MongoDB here, but there are modern platforms. They use their own proprietary languages like MQL in MongoDB and all that. That is a kind of a bottleneck sometimes when you try to work around the data. So here, CrateDB, you have the SQL compatibility. So I'm going to quickly go to today's agenda, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to show you. Then I'll show you. Then after that, I'm going to summarize this. During the conversation, please feel free to raise your hand, ask a question. I wanted to be this session to be more informal or conversational in style. So there's nothing so critical here. So please feel free to raise your hand when you have a question. So the two things I'm going to do here, I'm going to show a couple of examples that our engineers put together. The one example, a demo to demonstrate the CrateDB features, PDF extraction, which is a very popular use case these days. How do you, especially Gen AI world, right? How do you create these amazing corporate internal search applications or any type of Gen AI applications? The document extraction and searching is a key thing there. I'm going to demonstrate how CrateDB can help do this a search, a very accurate search, right, against your vector data, which is sitting in a CrateDB, right? So in this area, there are a couple of challenges, bias and hallucinations. I mean, you may have actually studied that a lot. I mean, if you're in Gen AI space, CrateDB has some unique features that help reduce these things and to provide better accuracy from any type of large language model that you do to kind of summarize your response. That's one thing. And the second thing I'm going to talk about is, in that I'm going to mainly focus on vector search, hybrid search, and how Crate can actually help build those Gen AI applications. And the second one is about emergency response, especially looking at like what's going on in real world, especially in the US, like California wildfires, and there are wildfires every week that you read in the newspapers, right? and television channels. So this company that who's a partner of CrateDB, they actually built an amazing application to provide a quick response to any type of incidents in and around that wildfire areas. So how CrateDB actually help provide that timely information to firefighters or a police department or immediate first respondents, right? When somebody make a call into that, like so, real-time data is so crucial in such situations, and how CrateDB kind of help build such a real-time intelligent applications. So that's a second example that I'm going to show. So before I do that, I said a lot about CrateDB at a very high level, right? You have a data ingestion part, like on the left-hand side to my left, or maybe right. So there is a data ingestion here. Yeah, so there is a data ingestion. You can actually get all the data from your enterprise applications or any type of external IoT data, sensor data, things of that nature. CrateDB has a phenomenal use cases around IoT, industrial data. They have a number of customers, especially in the industrial space, because where you have too much of a volume of data, and that requires time series capabilities there. So CrateDB actually natively built to support time series, data modeling, and also there are a lot of features around that. So that's one example. And then you have these connectors that will help you get the data into CrateDB. There are a number of these connectors. It supports both a batch and ETL, or any type of ETL, and also change data stream, CDC connectors. For example, I was recently working with a customer of ours, a financial institution. They wanted to get their data from mainframes into CrateDB. They're asking for like a kind of connectors that you do have. So CrateDB actually supports, they have an open source implementation. Debezium, if some of you know, is like open source software that they have a connector, a wrapper around that to get change stream data into CrateDB. So CrateDB, as I said, that you have these type of integration features, CDC, blah, you name it. They have a way to get the data into and out of CrateDB, and you can build user-defined functions like the way you do in the SQL and Oracle, right? This is something you may not be able to do it in MongoDB. If you're a big fan of MongoDB, they use aggregate functions. This is a dynamic schema. Like all other modern technology platforms, database platforms, CrateDB is also very, you can create these columns without having to do alter script and all that, like in the backup scripts, and you don't need to do that. You can actually, like in JSON, you can actually dynamically, progressively update your schema. And this supports a number of options here, like as you can see, the table, JSON, time series, geospatial, full text search, and a blob. A full text vector, I'm going to, we used in the PDF extraction and such a tool that I am going to show you, and time series and blob features and the geospatial features is what I'm going to show you in the other wildfire quick response application. These are the features that kind of demonstrated those in the examples. And this is a highly distributed database platform, when you execute a query, whether it is a complex query or not, the query compute is actually distributed across the different nodes in the server farm. So that's where you get the performance that you see or you need to build low latency type of applications, right? And at a storage level, all the data that you ingest into CrateDB stored in a columnar storage fashion. That's where like the performance comes into play because of the way it is stored. And also they use a bit of a data compression techniques. And for example, if in a SQL or Oracle type of environments, if your data storage is 1 GB, that getting the data into CrateDB tremendously reduces the actual footprint of that storage. I mean, you save a bit of money as well on the storage side. And this is a high available, highly scalable platform. And you can run this on edge devices, like any type of a mobile, and on-prem hybrid and private clouds. In these examples, I'm going to show a cloud example. So both examples use a cloud solution. Again, here you can build, once you have the data, you can build all these different types of tools here. And one of the application example uses visualization, especially the first response example visualization technique. I mean, it's done in Python, but it has that Python library into CrateDB to pull the data to actually plot these nice charts there. So there is the charting capability there. Okay. With that, let me go to next slide. Sorry. Okay, let me go to, I'll first show this PDF example, if that's okay with you. Are there any questions so far before I escape from this and I wanted to go to my browser context here? Please feel free to ask any questions that you have. Okay, I'm going to share this, the GitHub repository links and also relevant links that you can try it out on your own. I actually set up everything on my local Visual Studio Code. For some reason, it's not running, and I think maybe this Wi-Fi is pretty slow or something. It's taking a bit of a time. So what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to use the recorded video, but I'm going to show, like, highlight the important code snippets in that video, so that when you go out and try these examples, it comes really handy, or it makes more clear. So the PDF example, the basis for this is we have what we call a blog on this thing. I'm going to share this link with you. What this blog talks about is how you can do BM25, which is another name for text search, and KNN search. KNN search is like synonymous to vector search, and how these two search capabilities are used, and came up with an accurate response. Or when you actually create a context to your large language model, it's kind of a simple RAG solution. You have a user prompt. You enhance that user prompt using your own internal data, and once you get that internal data, you have this response, text response, which doesn't use a large language model, and you have other response from a large language model. You combine those responses together, kind of like a re-ranking and combining, and the combination actually results in a better accuracy here. So this blog talks about the full text search and vector search in detail. And also, if you look at this blog, there is a re-ranking model that they used, a convex combination. These days, there are a number of third-party GenAI tools, like a lot of startups just on re-ranking solutions. Recently, Wise.ai is a company specialized in re-ranking results from a large language model. How do you re-rank them to better accuracy? MongoDB acquired that company. So this is a really an important feature. And sometimes, to me, like, you don't need to buy an off-the-shelf or a SaaS solution to just to do the re-ranking. Re-ranking is something that you can programmatically do it yourself. I mean, if you know how to do it. That's the point I want to try to make out here. So you have to take a scientific, methodical approach to actually find what is needed for a given use case. So in the preliminary rudimentary use cases, you can simply use what is offered by these programming languages or platforms like CrateDB. That's one important feature here. And I'm going to show you an example here. This is something I built using, because I'm a financial services guy, in alternative investment space. Today, a lot of analysts, actually, they try to spend a lot of enormous amount of time to go through these investment due diligence questionnaires that they receive from the general partners before they make an investment, right? They need to go through, like in this case, it is almost like a 130 pages of a document. Doing that through a manual, like checking, and it takes a while. And so I used CrateDB to kind of go through this document. This is the document example. And then you have, you can actually upload a document and choose a file. I'm not going to upload that because it's going to take a time to actually create an embeddings and store it in the database. I have already done something here. And then you have BM25 search and KNN search. You can actually you can define the depth of or a recursion, or how deep you wanted to go in and get the results back. You can specify those as a part of your query. That's another calibration that you do, like if you're not receiving the amount of accuracy that you wanted to see from these tool, right? There is that adjustment that you can make. And you may actually find a good combination there that actually results in a kind of a response quality that you're looking to. So you have, I have a simple example here. I wanted to find a fund name in the document. For example, the fund name is here in the page number, I think somewhere here in the page number 1. Yeah, Berkshire Partners LPL LLC. And then I wanted to get the response in a specific format. This is also, it's an important, like this is how you teach your large language model. When you ask a response, you want to get a response in a predefined format. So this is something you can do that in your program. So that's what I tried to do here. Like I wanted to retrieve the data from, spit out the data so that an analyst can actually make sense out of it. This format is also kind of an industry format. It's called ILPA, Institutional Legal Document Formatting. That is a globally accepted format. It's kind of a bit of a compliance check. Like if you get your response in that format, you actually completed your compliance check as well. So it helps in getting a better response, and also it helps in actually applying any type of internal rules or compliance checks that you wanted to do. You can actually ask your large language model to do as a part of your RAG model. So I did a response here, like before I tried to load this thing here. And as you can see, there is a hybrid response here, and I have a full text search and a KNN search. If you look at the response from the KNN search, which is a very like a semantic search, right? It goes by the meaning. For some cases, a semantic search is okay. This is another area I found myself very interesting, and you need to find what kind of a search is really important for you, or what kind of a search really works for you in your use case. And semantic search works with any type of semantic, meaning vector search works with for any type of natural language type of queries. But when it comes to financial data querying, you may not be able to use semantic search because accuracy is so important. Like that's where you need full text search. Full text search actually kind of tries to match the exact phrase that you're trying to look into. So you have that. I mean, if you want to, you're looking for a currency exchange or a dollar amount, you wanted to have the absolute value, not like a kind of a probable value. So that is another thing. Like in the hybrid search, you can actually give emphasis to these parameters, like weightage, right? That's how hybrid search is done. You provide more weightage to full text search in use cases where you think that is more relevant for you, vice versa. So then the hybrid search, this is a bit of a calibration technique that you need to use to get the response. So, and in this case, we used 60-30 when we do the hybrid search, and then hybrid response. Again, this is all coming from CrateDB, and the code is deployed here in our Chatbot, and the exact same code I used. I'm going to send you the link. But the only thing I changed there was the document that I'm looking to search. I used a financial document here. Our engineer used CrateDB architecture blueprint PDF. Like it has like a 30 or 40 pages. This is a plain straightforward. So it has like a few functions here. This is the main code, chatbot.py. This is where you have the KNN search that I was talking, and also hybrid search, like when you get the response and how it does this whole like a weighted average search back to you. It's a simple chartbot, and the uniqueness with the CrateDB, as I said, the hybrid search, and also it has connectors to what I call LangChain and all these tools, libraries, and if you wanted to call out a specific large language model, all the plumbing is already provided through these libraries, right? And that makes your development work really easy. And if let me actually, that's the link, and let's say, for example, hope this works, and if I wanted to find a general partner here, and I can go here and just search, and gives the search response amount of time it takes. Yeah, it took almost like a 5.32 seconds, right? And it's a very fast. Part of the reason is, like I said, it's automatically indexes every column that every piece of their data that you put it in the database. That's really phenomenal. And I tried to actually test it out to see if because of that additional indexing, is that will there be any performance penalty? But I didn't see any type of a performance penalty indexing during data ingestion, right? So I definitely request you try this and a solution. And like I said, I'm going to go back here, PDF example. There is a GitHub link here, and I'm also going to show you this the video that one of our engineer he did. He's supposed to be here, but for travel reasons he couldn't be present here physically. But there is this. He actually gone through this whole. He has a simple other UI, a chartbot, but I'm not using that. I used my own UI because I wanted to prove out that concept myself. But I use the exact same hybrid search code here. And also he has something like I did. He had citations. Citations, as you know, is an important feature in any type of RAG solution to kind of help provide the confidence to end users, right? And that's how one way a poor man's way to address hallucinations in or a bias in your search results. So they can go there and check the results themselves and until they get the confidence on the tool. And this example in the GitHub uses unstructured input, like PDFs in this case, and the embedding model, multimodal feature, like the vector search capabilities of CrateDB are the main features that are showcased there. Like I said, this is a RAG model. I think some of you already know RAG is retrieval augmented generation. And that's where CrateDB helps you. Like, although it is not a AI platform, the way you actually accelerate AI development is to build the RAG pipelines within CrateDB, or the contextual search that you need to send it to large language model. You can do all that legwork within CrateDB. That's one important. So there's some code snippets, and I'm going to share this. We have a sentence extractor. This is again part of the process, like in chunking, and there is just chunk size limitations with the CrateDB. That is something you need to keep in mind when you do. Like I said, here, like you see, the importing OpenAI, we have this libraries to make calls into a number of these, AI platforms, so that you don't need to build those bridges yourself, and it kind of a speed of your development work. It's kind of like a simple import and a drag and drop, and you can start using this. Yeah, so I'm going to quickly go through this, and yeah, let me also show you CrateDB. CrateDB, yeah, this is a very high-level workflow. You have the end user or a customer support technician or analyst. They may ask a question, and there is this text embedding model that they use, and then you extract the text and send it to OpenAI. OpenAI gives you back your vector embeddings, and then you persist that in CrateDB. And then when this bot, when you ask a question through the Python, and the bot actually leverages that vector search. I mean, against MongoDB supports, CrateDB supports vector search, and it gets the results back to the bot, and before it returns and the results, and it's going to synthesize and summarize based on large language model there. Yeah, so there are some code snippets here, how it is done, and I please, I'm going to share this recording video and also the GitHub link and the relevant reading that you need to do before you jump into this example. Again, going back to my own example, and I have seen good results, and I tried, to be honest, I tried an example from another database vendor as well. And the results I saw from CrateDB, by the way, I'm not a full-time employee for CrateDB, I'm a consultant, and I take like a very impartial and neutral view on database technology. So I'm not selling here. I'm just sharing what I found part of my testing or validation process. This definitely gains a lot of brownie points, especially in the hybrid search. And also this started supporting a graph search as well. There's another feature that you need to improve your data accuracy, right? And one of a CrateDB engineer, he wrote some custom code to do the graph search, which is not a part of the platform, but if you're looking to do that, you can actually use the code to further enhance it. Okay, the other example is wildfire example. Before I get in there, I try to run this using my local, for some reason it's taking a while to load. The UI looks something similar to this. But anyway, before I go into this, are there any questions? Feel free to ask me. We have 15 more minutes, and I may take another 5-6 minutes here.
Thank you. This company, mostly we are with the SQL, MS SQL. Season thing. How do you see CrateDB making
The way I understand the question is you work in a payments industry, which is awesome, and I'm also from the similar industry. I forgot your name, I'm sorry. Manjeet. Manjeet asked, like Shiva, you said CrateDB is not a AI platform, but it helps support, accelerate any type of AI, Gen AI use cases. And thus, as a clarification he asked, and I confirmed that understanding, it's not a AI platform, it helps accelerate AI development. That's the first part. And the second part, if that's the true, then how do you actually kind of reimagine some use cases in payment industry for CrateDB, right? Especially in the Gen AI maybe, or AI space, right? So now I'm going to show an example, like, because he asked me how CrateDB can help in the payment industry, especially card fraud, right? How you can actually prevent card fraud, right? Card fraud is a big challenge in the industry. Like they're losing almost $40 billion a year annually. That's a big loss. And they're still struggling to address that even in the time of AI and Gen AI world, right? Why is that happening? And if you ask yourself that question, one of the problem in my opinion is, do you see that? Okay, so one of the challenge there is they lack a comprehensive view of a customer. Like a payment industry, they use different channels to do these, like the mobile web, different payment cards. Like getting all the data into central location is very difficult. That's what I was saying. Like yesterday, CrateDB helps create that unified data layer. That's you need to have a comprehensive view to be able to find and prevent a fraud in the moment at real time. If you miss out some information, you may not make those observations accurately. So that's one thing. The data is, so unified data is one way CrateDB can help you in that. You create a CrateDB unified data layer. And then generally fraud prevention is done in three stages. As you can see on the slide here, generally they use rules-based, and there is a predictive analytics, and then beyond that, this is something nobody tried in, as far as I know, kind of using a vector search to kind of help reduce fraud or help improve fraud detection accuracy, right? This is an idea I actually started working with a client in actually Asia. They really loved this idea, and they're trying to use CrateDB to help prevent, or not prevent 100%, nobody can prevent 100% fraud, right? So reduce the losses, like accuracy, increase accuracy. By doing a vector search, like we can ask, like, how do you do vector search? Like when you have a transaction data, part of the transaction data, you can take and see if there is any type of anomalies as a part of the transaction. And then you can actually at least block some of those initial, fraudulent activities, right? So that is one way. I mean, I'm going to stop there, but I'll be around, and if you're interested in understanding more, I'll come back here and we can expand on this thing. That's one way. I hope I answer your question. So that's what I said. CrateDB is just like any other database, right? It's not like different to any other database. They persist data and they help retrieve the data, right? They cannot really create those vector representations and vector embeddings. Large language models, internally, as you know, they do that vector representation when you provide a text in the prompt. The first step they do is they convert it into a vector and then do a vector search like the way I did there for fraudulent activity, and see this way they use nearest neighborhood and type of algorithms to find the match. So in this case, like we use large language models, OpenAI. I did an example, actually it's on the GitHub. To just get the embeddings vector representation for a given text, and they get that and they store it in vector database, in this case CrateDB, and CrateDB supports a search, a vector search, like a KNN search, like I said. Yeah, so you'll have to, I mean, to answer it short, like you'll have to use, you can bring any type of embedding model of your choice to create embeddings and store it in CrateDB. CrateDB is different because it provides those connectors to talk to these large language models, so you save time in doing that. But otherwise, you have to spend a lot of time. So, yeah, so this is exactly what it does. It is actually taking a transaction and putting it in CrateDB, and there's a bit of app logic here to your question, and it requests OpenAI, generate embeddings, and the embeddings are stored here in CrateDB. And then this KNN search happens. I mean, these are synchronous activities. And then when you search, and it's going to do a vector search here, and you see like there are like previously categorized fraudulent activities or transactions are colored in a red color, and if the new incoming transaction falls within the vicinity of that zone, you can actually, for a degree of certainty, you can say that is a fraudulent action or activity, and you can block. You block, and then what you do is you send a SMS message to the customer or maybe service rep and to look into this matter, and and approve or decline the transaction. Okay. Okay, 8 minutes. And so the other example I want to show you here is wildfire. This is something one of our partner they did. This is a very socially, I think, responsible type of a solution. I really liked it. I'm going to go to, yeah, I tried to actually set it up on my local host for some reason because of, I think, bandwidth issues here is not loading up. But I mean, when you set it up on your computer, definitely I'm sure it works like a charm. Let me go back here. I thought I opened that link here. Maybe not. Yeah, so this tool, like the UI I was showing you previously, what it does is, I'm going to quickly. Oh. Yeah, he talks about, he's our engineer, Simon. He's DevRel's expert, and he does these type of events. And like I said, he's supposed to be here, not here. And DataMax is a company, a data and AI company. They have actually created this solution on top of CrateDB. So solution is pretty simple, right? You have these calls and other messages coming in from all these impacted or affected areas, people from those areas in the wildfire scenario situation. And getting all those calls and helping the rescue team or firefighting team using a CrateDB real-time system here. And in this example, I have, this is a high-level architecture, and it ingests the data from, they created some synthetic data to actually prove the concept here. And then you have that data into CrateDB through a ETL Python library, and then CrateDB does this search and the other geospatial operations. Like I said previously in the beginning, I'm going to show you those type of queries they used here. Let me quickly go to the code here. So when you download the code, which I'll share you the link, there is create a client to a CrateDB. It's a SQL client, right? And a Python. This is a Python solution, and CrateDB has a Python library. And if you import the library, making calls to CrateDB are one, very easy, and two, most importantly, they're secured because the library takes care of all the security concerns that you generally may have. So I strongly recommend you create a database connection or CrateDB. We have a free version, and you can actually simply create your this is one example. Like this is a cloud version. This is where I did. This is a emergency calls information, and like for example, let me wildfire. So you can actually use a cloud trial version and use this example and import the data. And there are 3 tables that go into this example, and they get the data, and this actually solution works just like that. And in the solution, there are, like for example, there are queries that they used. I want to actually call out these features here. For example, this particular you say, for example, get fires by country and get fires in an area, and there is one temporal. Yeah, this is where in this feature they used CrateDB time series data capabilities. So all the SQLs are here. I mean, there's a pretty plain old T-SQL, and you can easily understand this thing. It's a self-explanatory, like based on those 3 tables, and there are queries to demonstrate geospatial. Let me go back here to this example, and this is important. Yeah, so there is the emergency calls in near 5 locations. that uses the distance function which is an analytic function, and that function code is actually written in that the code windows I showed you previously in Visual Studio Code. And there is another geospatial function which is a polygon if they wanted to see incidents within a specific area, like for example San Francisco area. You can specify that as a parameter, like which in this case is a polygon, and then you can actually drill down. And then there is a match clause. This is a text search that they used in this example, which is and let me actually she also did the same walkthrough. I'm going to skip that. This is an example, like the map, and just a general map. This is where geospatial coding is used. And then emergency calls, like this is again, we created some synthetic data, sample data. And when you search here, that the CrateDB text search is actually leveraged here to get that search accurately. And then there is, this is like a plotting charts, like the daily fires. This is, again, this is a time series capabilities are phenomenal. You can actually, in your case, and you can do a lot of financial services like tick data, market data, any type of those use cases. This comes really handy. You don't need to use any niche time series data software solutions, right? There are like solutions specially made for that, and that's how financial industry, in my opinion, created a lot of technology sprawl. And so I definitely have 2 more minutes. And the charts like plotting is I think is also pretty straightforward. I use the next 2 minutes for any other questions, but I'll make it a point to share this links with you. This, and so you have that handy, and the locations I showed you, and I hope I made some sense here, and why CrateDB. If you have any questions, and I have 1 more minute, please.
Last questions? I've got a few. We can always stop by. It's kind of not weird.
Since we're short on time, do you have any quick comments on the importance of security when it comes to mixing your, like for example, CrateDB with a public or a private AI for enhanced search capabilities? For example, using the PDF search?
So security means different things. Like what do you mean by security? Security of your data? Or,
Yes, mostly data security. We're in government space, so we have to have a lot of control and privacy.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's you brought up a very good point. Like the security, that's one reason. Like government agencies and financial, they continue to keep the data on-prem because they do not trust cloud solutions. So when you pick a solution, that's an important aspect you need to look into. Like, well, this service provide that on-prem capabilities or not. Like I said, CrateDB has that on-prem. Like right out of the box, and you have that perimeter around that thing because its data sits in on-prem, right? That's one thing. And once it is in on-prem, like then it comes about like how do you, when the data is transmitted over the wire, is it like secured, right? And it is secured. CrateDB supports a TLS 1.2 and above and the HTTPS. So any data that you transmit over the network or the wire, what do you call, is secured. And the data at rest is secured as well. So you have that confidence and security there. Now what else? And the other thing is, that's from the technology standpoint, if you really, like from the process standpoint, if you obviously you need to define your data, classify the data, right? Not every data is secure, right? There's some, even in financial, some data is like is not so secure, sensitive. So for sensitive data, there are like different techniques, as you know. If you need to actually send that out to cloud and other sources, and you anonymize or decrypt or encrypt or mask, there are different techniques that you can actually use to kind of put a guardrails around that, especially when you need to send data out of the on-prem to the cloud. But I think keeping on-prem is important, and finding a vector search that works on-prem is an important thing. CrateDB supports both. And if you look and search, right, on-prem vector database, yeah, so one of the popular database platform I worked previously doesn't support that. Okay, thank you guys.
It's great. And he's going to be in his
Yeah.
and the desk out in the exhibitors, so you can always ask more questions there.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yep.